A lot of you are here because you saw my install videos of all the speakers and the amazing Tesla style radio on my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. But today, I'm gonna bump that up a little bit more and I'm gonna install subwoofers. But not just one, I'm doing two, and I'm doing two under-seat subwoofers. I've seen several other channels install one of these types of under-seat subwoofers, but I'm doing two. I want one under both front seats. I've wanted to do this project since I put the speakers in before, but I didn't really want to spend the money. So when Seventour reached out and said they wanted me to test out their subwoofers that are also powered, that are under seat, I was like, sounds like the best time to do it. So I'm gonna jump in, I'm gonna show you these subwoofers that they make, and then we're gonna jump right into the process of how to install them and how you can do it at home as well. And these things, I'm really anxious to see how they sound because they sell for under $120 each for 1,000-watt subs, and I think they're 350-watt RMS that are 10-inch. Should be pretty great, especially under the seat. Now here's why I want the under seat so bad, because I love having the doors and the top off of the Jeep. So I want to have them secure, but I also want them to sound good and not have to worry about them getting stolen, or much less chance of them getting stolen. So let's check these things out. Here's everything that comes with this. And again, this is under $120. A lot of times you can even find this for closer to like 100 to 110. So you get the 10-inch powered subwoofer, and this is a really nice aluminum body, aluminum grill, and I guess it glows blue. Cool. You get the remote cable for your volume adjustment. You get a power cable that goes from your battery to the sub, ground cable, fuse block, RCA cable, your remote wire, mounting brackets, and if you don't have an aftermarket radio like I have, you can tap into your factory speakers, and it even comes with the adapter for that. But I have an aftermarket, so we are going to be using the RCA cables. Now I'm going to be using all of the stuff they supplied. If I were going to be doing this myself and buying the kit, I would definitely get a thicker gauge, but this will be more than fine, especially because I'm doing two of these and both of them come with their own kit. So I actually am going to run two separate cables. First things first, when we're doing this project, we're going to want to take the doors completely off. So I'm going to do that in a second, but you want to take the seats out. It's going to be a lot easier. So you've got 4 bolts on each seat, and this also gives me a chance to vacuum and clean out the Jeep because it's a disaster. Like, look, there's a piece of cheese. Why is that in there? I don't know, but it's there. So it'll give me a good chance to clean this. But you have to remove these 4 bolts. You're going to want to use an impact wrench or some kind of torque wrench. It's going to be a lot easier for you to do it. I just so happen to have an impact wrench, so let's get this thing going and get these seats removed. And you'll need to slide the seat back in order to get that far corner, and then slide it all the way forward to get this side. All right, now we're gonna do the back. Again, this is so much easier with an impact wrench. So if you don't have one, you should probably buy one or borrow one. Just like that, I got this thing unbolted. So let's pull the seat out. Now that I got all the bolts out, I'm gonna pull the seat out. It's really easy, comes out really, really easily. And then all you have to do is you have this bracket, or this clip that you need to undo as well. So this is what you need to undo, this right here. So there's 2 little tabs that you have to pull out, and then that. And then once you get the big clip off, there's one smaller clip right here. That you need to undo as well. And there we go. Those 2 clips come off, and then we can take the seat completely out. Seat number 1 is out, so we will repeat that process on the other side, but oh my gosh, you guys, this is disgusting. There is so much gross stuff in here. I recommend like maybe taking your seats out every once in a while to vacuum if you're anything like me. This is really nasty. I'm almost embarrassed, but then again, like, you know, my truck is a tool. It's what I bought it for. Both seats are out of the front. Now I need to vacuum because, again, this is gross. Like, This is really gross. Also, I found a gas receipt for the previous owner. This vehicle was in Florida for a short amount of time, in Jacksonville. At least that's where the receipt is from. And, you know, eventually I'd love to move to Florida. So maybe it starts his life in Florida, ends its life in Florida. We'll see. But I got to vacuum because it's gross. And then we're going to start running all the cables for the subwoofers. I need to take the head unit off, which this is the head unit I have from Linkswell. It's this amazing Tesla style radio, which I absolutely adore. I got to take that off so that we can run the RCA cables and the remote wire. And then we will get the subs mounted. Let's do it. Now that we have this vacuumed out, it's time to start running the wires. So one of the most important things is getting it hooked to the battery terminal. Now my engine is also very dirty. I need to clean this as well. But again, it's a Jeep. But here's your battery terminal. Your red cable is gonna go on this. And I'm gonna put them on this block over here. Since I'm doing two, and that is like the accessory block anyway. Let's get that little leaf thing. So that's where they're gonna go, and we're gonna run them back and around. And where we're wanting to go, let me get my flashlight on here real quick, is, see if you can see it. All right, it's this little grommet right in there. So you're gonna have to drill a hole in that plastic grommet there, and we're gonna run them through. Now I've seen people run them through the other side of the firewall. There's a big rubber grommet, but I don't like going through rubber grommets because those are there for a reason. They're for better sealing. And I've also seen people like go through the door trim, which is really not good. That's not to code. So we're gonna go through that. And again, I'm gonna drill a little hole through that grommet and we will run the cables. Before I got too crazy, I thought I would do a test fit on this, and I will show you. It fits really, really well. The only thing I do wish is that the factory floor mats, it'll go under the amp, but it does kind of push the amp up a little bit. But looking at this now, I realized you probably don't have to take the seats out. Now, will it be easier to take the seats out? Absolutely. And also, I am doing another project today, which will be on a separate video where I'm finally putting in the seat warmers that I bought 2 years ago. Because I moved to Iowa, it got cold, I bought seat warmers, and then it was too cold to install them. And then when it's hot out, like it is today, it's like 90 degrees, you don't think about putting seat warmers in. So what I'm gonna do is, in between doing the subwoofers, I'm also going to put the seat warmers in, but you have to stay tuned for another video for that one. And there you can see where I punched the hole through that grommet. It was really, really simple. There's nothing behind it. There's no insulation. So it should be able to just pop the power cables through there and drop them straight down because I can see sunlight, which means that that just goes straight down by the gas and brake pedal. When you're getting these wires set up, so like right now I'm putting this end cap on here to put on the battery terminal, and you'll need to do that for the ground as well. I highly recommend using some of this heat shrink tubing. It's incredibly inexpensive. This was like $5 on Amazon. You get all kinds of different sizes and colors, and then it only is going to protect your cables. I used to be like, use electrical tape for everything, but this is way cleaner, way more secure, and all you need is either a little torch or a heat gun to put those on. Look how nice and clean that looks. Nice and professional, and it's gonna keep it way more secure. So just take the extra second and use the heat shrink tubing. It's cheap, it's easy, and it looks so nice. So this is where the power cable comes through the firewall. It's that little grommet up there. And I ran it up and behind our gas pedal, and then I'm going to tuck this in to this area right here, and then I'll run this around, and then I was able to get the passenger side amp power cable directly through there. So I guess there is another benefit of taking the seats out. You get a lot better access if you're running both subs. And then the other one will go right here, and I'll cut it and make it all secure. So I'm gonna pin all these wires up so they're nice and secure. They don't get in the way of the pedals. And then we'll start getting the amps hooked up. So fun story how I told you you can get the heat shrink things cheap on Amazon. This kit comes with them. So sorry I didn't pay attention to that, but that's even better that everything you really need is in this kit. So as I'm getting this installed and seeing that they included all this stuff, I'm really anxious to see how these subs sound because, you know, obviously I'm doing a lot of work. If they don't sound good, that's kind of a pain, but I don't think that's going to be the case. They have good reviews. Even if they're just like, okay, it's going to be a massive upgrade from having nothing. So I'm going to get the heat shrinks on the ground cables and then get those plugged in. Then we pull the head unit out, run the RCA cables and the remote wire. Whew. I forgot how much work it was putting subs in. It's a lot. Again, this is why you use heat shrink tubing. Look how stinking good this looks. Again, this is why you use heat shrink tubing. Look how good that looks. So professional. That looks so nice. One of the things you're going to want to do is install these mounting bracket feet. So this is what they come with. Got this nice little locking channel in there. Now, unfortunately, I do not have enough room in the Jeep for where I want to mount these. So I'm only going to do these two, which is going to be the ones closest to the dash, closest to the front cabin. Also, because again, that's where I said if this was cut back a little bit, which I could always modify that, but I don't really want to. The other thing that's kind of a bummer is that your vent for the back seat for the heat and air for your feet is right there. That in the wintertime might be a little bit more problematic because I like having the air in my feet, and so it's going to hit the amp and move around. Now, I could move this up a little bit more, give it a little bit more space. Actually, I think I'm going to leave it about right there. But those are your two mounting brackets, and we're going to mount those. There's still plenty of space under the seat to do that, and it gives you enough room that the speaker will be able to move and should keep it pretty safe from theft. And then we're going to trim up the power cable, put that over here, and then we have our ground cable right here, and that is going to mount right there. Or you could also mount it there or there. But we need to mount that ground cable. Luckily, there's a lot of great grounding points already on the Jeep that you don't have to do anything different. I need to start taking the head unit out of here, and that's fine. That's not a hard problem, really. But I realized I don't have any seats in right now, so taking the head unit out without having a really good place to sit, it's kind of interesting. Now, if you don't have an aftermarket head unit, that's totally fine. I showed you the adapter. All you would have to do is tap into like one of these front speakers, preferably this one, this bottom one. And let's see if I can get, there we go. This one right here is the one you want to tap into. You can access it up here. I do have other videos where I replace this with a bigger speaker, but all you have to do is tap into that, and then it goes into that adapter. Then the RCA cables will go into the sub. But I'm going to tell you again, you're going to want to get an aftermarket. And this Linkswell one, I've had this for, I don't know, like a year maybe, since I did the review video on it. I love this radio so much. I will have links down below. Also have links down below for the Seventour subs. We haven't reviewed them yet. We haven't checked them out to see if they sound good, but I will have links below in case you want to buy them. It does help out the channel because this video is not sponsored. They did send them to me for free, but all of these opinions are my own. They don't get to say anything, and they don't get final review of my videos. So thanks for sending them, but that's how my reviews work most of the time. But I do have some sponsored ones coming up, so we'll see how that goes. But they still can't tell me what to say because it's my channel. I have my head unit out of here, and I know this is just a rat's nest of cables, but the cables that we really need are this one, this little blue one. That's the wrong blue one. We need, hold on, this blue one. This is our aux det. That's the one that goes to the subwoofer. That tells the subs when to turn on and when to turn off. And then the other very important one is our sub outs, because we have that. Now, since I'm doing two different subwoofers with two built-in amps, I had to get these adapters. That way, I can run 2 separate RCA lines, one into each subwoofer. You guys get it? Cool. All right, folks, they are powered on. I did a quick test just to make sure that there was signal coming through, but I haven't really fired them up. So let's check them out. They look really cool. We should have a cool glow under the seat. Got the wires pretty much tucked in. I got a little bit too much on the RCA cables. I didn't really need that long, but we got what we got. Let's go in here and let's turn the subs all the way down. You can use the remote wire that they provide, but I have this on my head unit, so why not just control it here? And that's just one less thing I have to deal with. So here's some royalty-free hip-hop music. Okay, this is with nothing on. And again, you're hearing this through a microphone, through a camera, probably on your cell phone, but you'll get a decent idea. Now, let's start turning them up. Oh, wow. All right, here we go. They hit. They got more than enough power. I'll have to say, for something that costs around $110 each, these things hit. These sound great. Now I'm gonna put the seats back on, see how they really sound with the seat on there and see how they mount up. But I'll tell you what, it wasn't that bad of an install. I mean, it was like a typical sub install. The hardest part was just running the cables, just like any sub install. But as far as like what they provided, top notch, well worth the money. Now let's get the seats back in here and see how it really works out. So quick recap of what we did today. We ran the power cables, ran them up this way, through the firewall, down the dash, up, and then under the seats. So you can see the glow under the seats, but they look really nice. They're locked down, so we should have our good theft deterrent. Now let's go for a little cruise and see how these things sound. All right, let's go test this bad boy out. Let's get it out of the garage first. We'll see how she does. Oh, it was getting awful stuffy in that garage. Whew. All right, let's fire it up. Hopefully I don't make the neighbors too awful mad, because it does sound good. Oh man, it hits. All right, let's reverse it up. All right, here we go. Here's the real test on the road. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, I think that'll do the trick. Yeah, y'all, those sound good. They sound clean. They got a lot of power, more than enough volume than you'd probably ever need. So, wrap up. This was an easy project. It comes with everything you need, and for under $120 per sub, 1,000 watt peak, 350 watt RMS, these Seventour subs are 10 out of 10. I highly recommend them. So if you're interested, I've got links down below. And again, that helps the channel. So until next time, we'll see you later. Now I'm gonna go cruise.